Joining us today is a man I have a lot of respect for. He's a real legend of South African rugby. He's got over 100 Super Rugby caps to his name, three-time Currie Cup winner as well. And he is a Springbok, although I do think that you should have way more Springbok caps than you do, Louis. Thanks so much for joining us today and taking the time out to chat. Maybe you can just start off with telling us where you are at the moment, because I know you're in between a move to the UK.
Thanks, Gaz. Yeah, it's nice to see you again. I haven't seen you a while since lockdown and Durban and the move and everything. So at the moment I'm in Cape Town. My family is based in Cape Town forever. So yeah, I'm just here spending some quality time with friends and family before I make the move to the UK.
And how's that been going? Just lockdown in general and getting ready for this move. Are you excited? How are you feeling about everything?
Yeah, look, I'm ready to go. I feel a bit like a plastic bag, like just floating around everywhere. Staying with different people and family, and then an Airbnb, and it was a difficult move, I must say. And I actually thought it would be this way, and leaving Durban. In level 3. It's a good few months in Cape Town, I must say. There's some things that worked out lucky for me and the family, but yeah, I'm keen to get started again, keen to play rugby again.
Are you basically just stuck in South Africa now, waiting for the travel restrictions to actually let you travel to Newcastle?
Yeah, so my contract actually only starts in November, so the timing was good that we're in level 1 now. I think international flights are starting to open up more. Mm-hmm. So the visa process is not a simple one. It's actually a bit of a time-bound thing. So yeah, I think we're 99% there. So hopefully in the next 3 weeks, there'll be a flight for me, and then I can leave.
All right. Obviously, the news came out a couple of weeks ago that you're joining Newcastle Falcons. Maybe you can chat a little bit about how you went about finding a new club. If you exercised that 21-day clause with the Sharks, what happened there, and how you went about finding Newcastle, or how they went about finding you. I'm not sure exactly what happened.
Yeah, look, so I was still contracted at the Sharks till end of December, and I was always keen on making the move abroad. Was my first option. I'm at the age 30 now where I want to experience something different. I've given 10 years of my life to South African rugby. I was looking, and then obviously lockdown happened. Spoke to the Sharks. They gave me a release, and I was basically jobless for a few months, which was a really stressful time of my life, I must say. It's a lot of thoughts, a lot of dark thoughts go through your mind, and luckily Newcastle called, and I said I'm very keen. I was very keen to go to the UK. I think I've been to France and I've been to Japan and loved both experiences, but I wanted to experience the UK as well. And I'm very excited to go to a club like Newcastle. I think they've got a lot to offer for the next season. They're obviously coming up from the Championship, so I think they'll be keen to work hard and really make a name for themselves in the Premiership. So that just gives me a bit of extra motivation to go and lift my game even more, and then see where I can add value to them.
Are you on how long is the terms of your contract? 2 years? How long are you going to be there?
No, so I'm contracted from 1st of November 2020 till I think the end of July 2022. So it's a 2-year deal. So hopefully I can showcase something and maybe stay longer, or whatever the situation holds up there.
Have you had a look at the roster? I mean, I know at the Sharks you had a lot of youngsters around you, especially young scrum halves. Is it a similar situation with Newcastle?
Yeah, that's another thing why the Sharks, leaving the Sharks I was basically at the end of my term there. They've got 3 flipping good scrum halves coming through, all of them really talented, and I think all of them can maybe make a call for the box if be in the next coming years, or whatever the story is. But I don't really know too much about Newcastle scrum halves. I know they've got an experienced scrum half there. He's one of the co-captains, and he's been at the club. It's for me to get there. It's not a done deal for me starting or benching, whatever the story is. I need to prove myself. Like wherever you get, I need to showcase what I've got and try and fit in the team as good as I can.
I don't think anyone's really taken the opportunity to, you know, talk to you about where your career started and, you know, how you went about getting involved in rugby. I don't know if you can chat a little bit about your schoolboy days at Paarl Gym and when you kind of realized, hey, I want to be a professional rugby player. This is what I want to do. Is it something you've kind of wanted since you were a lighty?
Yeah, guys, geez, my dad was he was a big influence growing up. Like he was always coaching rugby teams, club level. He coached Boland back in the days before Fidentia and all that shit happened in the Boland. They were actually a good quality team at that stage, and so I always just trotted along and played touchies, and then obviously went to Paarl Gym, which take their rugby quite seriously. So that's where the love for the game basically began, and then had a good matric year and signed for Western Province. Always as a boy in Cape Town, obviously you want to play for Province and the Stormers. So for me, playing for them was a dream, and then that eventually realized, and I thought that I'd stay there. I'd be another John de Villiers or Skalkberger, not a Springbok like they am, but just finish my career there. So obviously that ended in 2016, so it was a good 7 years in Cape Town.
And what kind of made you think now it's time to leave at that stage?
I think at that stage I was a bit down in the pecking order. It was a bit of a roller coaster ride for me. Me and one of my good friends, Nick Room, he's playing, I think he's in Edinburgh now, in Scotland. But we were big rivals from school through club, professional, everything. So 1 year it was me, 1 year it was him, 1 year it was me. So in 2016, I think I found myself in number 3 in the pecking order. I think they signed Jan Vermaak again. So I just needed to change. I was in a bit of a comfort zone, I must say, and I needed to get out and find my feet again and flip and get some confidence in my rugby again. So then luckily I got a deal in Japan, and that 6 months made a massive difference for me. It was just me on my own. So I needed to prove myself, and I started working hard again, like rugby players should be. And then I had the option to go back to Cape Town again, but I wasn't really keen on going back into that bubble. And and the Kings at that stage needed a 9. So I said yes for that opportunity, and yes, that was probably one of my best years of rugby in 2017 with the Southern Kings. Where I played with Mapimpi and Tyler Paul and Irne Herbs and all of those. Chris Clutie. So we had an amazing year, and Dave Williams, which is the backline coach at the Sharks now, which has made a massive change in my career. I think he's one of the most influential people I've ever met. And then obviously the Sharks called, and I always wanted to move to one of the bigger franchises again to try and play for the Boks. And I took that opportunity, and 3 years down the line,
Just talking about that experience at the Sharks, how much did you enjoy playing there? I know obviously it was under two different coaches during that time, mainly Rob du Preez. You were the captain for a long time as well, and from the outside looking in and covering the team and getting to know you in that sort of space, it seemed like it was quite a happy camp. I know things kind of ended unceremoniously, but your time, especially under Rob du Preez, do you think you guys reached the potential that you should have, considering everyone that you had?
Definitely not. You would agree. If you look at that team we had in 2017, 2018, 2019 also, but it was a massive team and so much potential. But I've said this to many people, that you can have all the names on paper, but if you can't play as a team and you can't really gel and get everything right, then it doesn't help. So it was also 2017 started amazing Currie Cup. I think we went 10 or 11 games in a row, and then lost the final at Kings Park. And then 2018 again, won the Currie Cup final. 2019, average Super Rugby. And then now 2020 was actually, I think, a very good year with a youngish squad. But with massive potential for the Super Rugby. Obviously got stopped after 7 rounds, but who knows what could have happened down the line in Super Rugby if it continued. But yeah, the Sharks, I love Durban, and as you know, like, Durban is an amazing place. It gets flipping hot.
Yeah.
But it's never cold. And yeah, the people there are just so friendly, and I just loved everything about it. We stayed in Mshlanga, which is an amazing spot, and yeah, I just love the whole culture in Durban, and all the guys I worked with as well, the coaching staff and the management and all the professional staff at the Sharks are just amazing. All the people are so friendly, they're helpful, and they really want to see the Sharks brand continue and grow, as do the players. And I will say I definitely miss Durban and the Sharks.
Just speaking about that, and you touched on it a little bit earlier, guys like Sanele Nohamba, Grant Williams, and a guy who I think is probably more talented than both of them, but that's just my opinion, Jaden Hendricks. Being a senior player and being the senior scrum half in that squad, how good was it to see youngsters like that, you know, showing the amount of skill and stuff that they had? And also, I guess, Sanele at the start of the year, he's, you know, making his Super Rugby debut, playing as well as he did, you know, in a really, really tough competition. I guess those three are going to be fighting for spots for the next few years, like you were a few years ago at the Stormers.
Yes, those three. I haven't worked with Jaden as much, but obviously I know about Jaden, and he was always there in the mix. Sanele and Grant, I've worked with more in Super Rugby this year. But all three, even though they're different, they all so talented in their own specific and unique ways. And I think for them, the main thing is just to flip and grow and continue being confident and continue growing their skill set in what they're doing now. I think the Sharks, or also the coaching staff and the management and everything, is the right place for them to do that. I think they are 2 out of the 3 already in the Bok mix, so there they'll learn and grow as well. And I think it's a massive prospect for SA Rugby, and also flipping nice guys. I'm closer with Grant because he's an old Belgian boy, but the other 2 are also flipping humble, nice guys with massive potential. I'm a bit jealous, I must say. I wish I could still move like they do, but yeah, they'll also get old like me.
Speaking about getting old, Lee, I don't know how much you've ever spoken about your involvement with the Springboks, and like I mentioned earlier, you've got 1 Springbok cap to your name. Look, I guess that door's not closed. It never is until you hang up your boots. But how do you feel about having 1 cap? And can you chat a little bit about your experience being in the Springbok setup over the years, and if you feel like you had more to offer and perhaps you didn't get the opportunity that you would have liked?
Yeah, shit, it's a touchy subject for me because I've been in the mix so much and then didn't really get an opportunity to play at all. I think I've been third choice 17 or 18 times for the Boks, and only had that 1 cap in Wales, which is a bit, it's a bit depressing for me. But obviously that's life, and it's never the way. It's not always the way you wanted it to work out. But yeah, I've enjoyed every time I've been with the Boks, and I think I've learned at every camp and every tour, every end of year tour I've had, and then taking that to my club, and that maybe helped me in competitions with other players and other clubs or franchise or whatever the story is. But yeah, obviously we'll always love the Boks, and we'll always think that I could have had offered more to the Boks and maybe get more caps. It's a bit depressing for me telling people, yeah, I'm a Springbok, but I've only got 1 cap. Yeah, you don't want to be that one cap Springbok, but yeah, I enjoyed the experience.
When you went to Toulon last year, was that just to keep you game fit during the Rugby World Cup in case you needed to be called up? Is that right?
No, not really.
I think I got my timelines mixed up.
No, that was actually at that stage at the World Cup, and before that I was still in the mix with the Boks, but I think at that stage when I went to Toulon, that was something of the past. I picked up an injury just before the Currie Cup. I think, I broke my toe and I did a shoulder thing. So Sean Everett wanted me to play a bit of club rugby in Durban. As you know, the club rugby in Durban is quite So my first club game in I think 10 years was for Collegians against College Rovers.
Oh.
And that was probably the hardest 10 minutes of my professional career. And I actually tore a calf muscle and then did the other shoulder, so I was out even more.
Wow.
Yeah, and then I spoke to Sean and the Sharks management and asked if I can go play in Toulon as a medical joker just to get some game time because I missed so much through the year. And they obviously gave me that opportunity, and yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
How was it in Toulon? I mean, I know a lot of players go over there and they spend a few years in France. Was it quite foreign and difficult to adjust?
It was. I must say, it was a big culture shock for me. I was also on my own, and it was just 3 months, but it was over the holiday period. So it was. I was alone, and the conditions were tough. Jeez, I thought I'd go there and play 2 or 3 games, stand in for the French international scrum off, and then I ended up playing like 9 games. It was difficult conditions. You don't know the language as a scrum off as well. It's flipping difficult playing with 14 other Frenchies. So yeah, it was a nice experience, but one that I'll put behind me and move forward.
Those like just calling all the maps and you're just passing the ball, trying to keep up with everything.
I was just looking at hands. If I see hands, all goes.
Okay, Louis, I wanted to chat to you just a little bit about the way you approach the technical aspects of your game. And I'm not sure how much time you've spent training or, during lockdown, but just maybe for young scrum halves out there, it might be interesting to hear how you approach technical aspects and sort of the training drills that you do passing wise, kicking wise, and perhaps just how often you do those individual sessions away from training with the team and how you've gone about it since you were younger.
Yeah. So for me, I don't want to be a scrum half that can only kick or only tackle or only pass I want to be complete in all my basics. So that's obviously things that you need to consistently work on to maintain and obviously get better as well. So I try to find time in the week between or after or before training sessions to just sharpen up on skills, even if it's you and the other scrum half or you and your fly of just doing passing stuff from the ground, upstairs, from deliveries, from lineouts. And then obviously with kicking, we mostly kick after sessions because there's no real time in a day to go do your own kicking session. Mm-hmm. And if your week is so full that you want to rest on your off day, you don't want to go kicking necessarily on your off day because obviously your body takes a bit of shots. So I try to kick twice a week, and also not just flipping box kicks up in the air. I need to kick all the types of kicks. I need to do exits out, exits long, grubber kicks, chip kicks, contestable kicks. So I need to have all the artillery in my bag to really be confident in what I'm doing in the field and then execute that. And then obviously scrum halves are not big tacklers, but that's one of the things that I think is very underrated with a scrum half. A scrum half that can defend really well, really bails a team out. So I wanna be that guy that can make a try-saving tackle or be that second line and stop a guy when he breaks through, like save something. The big thing for me at the moment, and it was difficult in lockdown because we were so isolated and couldn't run much, but the fitness thing is massive because your 9s and your 15s, I feel, are the fittest oaks. They run the most, except for Makazole Mapimpi because he's a freak. But the other guys, scrum halves need to run, and so that fitness part of it, that's a big story for me.
So you put a lot of miles on the legs then, running. Have you been during lockdown now, or how are you feeling fitness-wise?
I'm actually getting there. I've been training with a guy in Cape Town and then a guy in Stellenbosch as well that I know from. He's more an athletics coach, but he helps me a lot with my fitness. And I lost a bit of pace the last few years, so hopefully trying to get some pace back. So yeah, we're doing that, and I've still got a few weeks, but I feel I'm on track.
Louis, just growing up, was there anyone that you particularly modeled your game on as a scrum half? Was there any particular player that you looked up to and wanted to play like, kind of emulate?
Scrum half wise, it was probably Fourie. Once, like when I got older, when I picked up the game and actually knew a bit what was going on, Fourie was probably my role model. And when I started with the box in 2013, he was ending his career. So him and Rowan Pinar was on my first end of year tour. So it was a bit of a shock going on tour with these two legends of the game, and I'm flipping 22, 23, trying to learn from them. But I'd probably say Fourie, he was one of that scrum halves that just could do anything, and his vision and for the game and his leadership was a massive thing for me. But not a non-scrum half was the guy I loved when I was younger was Christian Cullen.
Okay.
I loved how that guy like ran and scored tries for the All Blacks and stuff. Yeah.
And just in terms of coaching, you mentioned Dave Williams and the influence he had when you were at the Kings, and obviously he's at the Sharks now. Has there been any particular coach that you've enjoyed working with the most up until now, and someone that has really helped you as a scrum half develop your game and your skills and that kind of thing?
At school, we used to work with Christoph Lotter. He played for Griquas and I think a bit for Province as well. He's a scrum half, and it's always nice for a scrum half to learn from a scrum half, and not scrum halves that try and mold you or change you or whatever the situation is, but just give you like subtle advice so you just grow in confidence and find your feet and learn your own way. And then also another guy like that is Mikey Claessens. He's a flipping good mate of mine, and he's just such a legend because he understands. He's flipping intelligent with what he does and what he did. So coaching wise, it's probably Robbie Flick. He was a great character to have around the team environment. Sometimes a loose cannon, but I enjoyed Flicky, and when I see him, I still enjoy his company. And then I think the standout for me was probably Dave Williams. He took me at the Kings, and I didn't really know going to the Kings what type of coaches I'll work with. He was probably like a diamond in the rough there. And I thought that Oak he doesn't get all the credit he deserves. He's such an intelligent, hard-working coach. He just goes the extra mile. And I think for a young player to work with him is the best thing that can ever happen in South Africa.
I think we've kind of come to the end of everything. Just looking forward to going to Newcastle and stuff. And like you said, you're 30 now. You wanted to get a taste of something different. The next 4 or 5 years, what is your focus? What do you want to achieve, and where do you see yourself going?
A lot of people ask me, what are you going to do? Are you going to play till 32 and retire, or what the story is? And at the moment, for me, mentally and physically, I'm not nearly where I want to be for retirement. Like, my body is in such good nick, I must say. So I want to go there and really make a statement for myself and for the team. It's flipping exciting going there and playing for a new club, being in a new city, new environment in the UK. So I'll really try and embrace that and try and do the best with all I can.
I was actually talking to someone about this just lastly. I mean, you mentioned, you're 30 and you feel like you've got a lot more years than, people saying, oh, you're nearly, 32, 33, like that's when guys hang up the boots. Do you think that's going to start extending a little bit now? Do you think Oaks are going to start playing for a little bit longer than they have in the past?
Yeah, I think it depends on in what situation you are. Luckily, I'm very blessed with not having had big injuries yet. So I feel that's a massive plus for me. I never had a knee or a shoulder or ankle ops or anything like that. So I'm still good to go, and mentally I'm still also fresh, because that's like rugby takes a toll on you mentally. Like you get over it. I've been there where I thought like, why am I doing this? Can I just stop? But I want to learn as much as I can, because I want to continue when I'm done with playing. I want to maybe go into coaching. So that's also a thing that drives me to continue playing and learning as much as I can, and learning from new environments, new teams, because you can never just stagnate and just think you know everything. It's a constant evolving game. So for me, if the body is good and the mind is fresh, then why not? I think there's Oaks like Gio Apple on that play this weekend, and he's still carving that. Oaks is 30. So I mean, why not? Dwayne, he's not that old, but you look like a guy like Neil de Kock that played for Saracens. That Oak was almost 40 when he still played Premiership Rugby.
And
if
Mikey
they can do it,
Claessens. You mentioned Mikey Claessens. He was also pretty old when he came back.
Pretty tired.
Just on the coaching thing, do you think you'd look into doing some coaching courses and stuff like that? Is it something you've done already? And is that an avenue that you want to pursue? Actually, get I don't know what it is, the different coaching courses that you can do.
Yes, I actually started in lockdown with, you can do it through the Sharks. So I did my IRB course level 2. And then lockdown just stopped everything. There were so many plans and then it just got frozen. But I take it like everyone had that type of situation with everything. So yeah, I'm definitely thinking about coaching. I don't think I'll just go in and try and coach provincial, or I'll start from the bottom and like try and see if it's really for me, and try and see if I can work my way up. If I don't feel it and there's too much pressure or whatever, then I'll pull out. But I want to give it a crack and see if it's really for me, because I feel like I've got a knack for it, and I enjoy it.
So you'll be following in your buddy's footsteps.
Yeah.
Come full circle.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, Louis, thanks very much for chatting to me. I think we're all going to watch your sort of progress with interest when you move to the UK, and hopefully you're just another one of the South African scrum halves really dominating rugby up north, because it seems like that's what's happening at the moment with the way the guys have been playing up there the last few years.